Varadari Yashodanandana Braja Janarajana Yashodanandana Braja Janarajana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Gopi Janabalaba Girivardhari Gopi Janabalaba Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vajrana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vajrana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jai Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Shri Radhe Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai 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 Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
So Prabhuji, I have placed the screen. Will you read or you want me to read out?
You please go ahead and read, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. On May 16, 1953, Abo had a grand opening celebration for the League of Devotees with continuous readings, kirtana and prasadam distribution from daily morning until night. The building were decorated with leaves, flowers, and many earthen water pots. In the evening, when the attendance was the greatest, Abo lectured from the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita on Raja Guhya Yoga. Prabhakar Mishra conducted a fire sacrifice and several brahmanas chanted mantras from Brahma Samhita. Guests received a 16-page prospectus containing Abhoy's essay on the need for the league and an excerpt from the charter explaining its goal. It was signed Om Tat Sat Abhoy Charanar Vinda Bhakti Vedanta, founder and secretary. The opening was pleasant, auspicious event for the people of Jhansi, and hundreds gathered in the evening for Abhoy's lecture. Dr. Sharma, a charter member of the League and editor of the Jhansi daily newspaper, had already publicized the event and was planning a write-up for the following day. The Gauriya Putrika also reported on the opening. The editor of the local Theosophical Society, Sri Lakshminarayan Rajapalli, was also present. Although he holds a different philosophical opinion from Bhakti Vedanta Prabhu, he is very sympathetic with the movement. In the assembly, there were many people worth mentioning. The inauguration and establishing of deities will be done soon. The assembly will request Rajapati Sri K. Munshi to perform the inauguration ceremony. Their center has been registered by the Society's Registration Act. Sri Bharati Bhavan is the name of the league's building, in which they have a lecture hall and a temple and resembles a palace. The assembly has many activities at the center, and there are also facilities for the members to live there. Our felt confident that Bharati Bhavan would now be established and recognized as the home of the League of Devotees. He was happy to see that the opening day was not merely his private affair, but an event celebrated by the most important citizens of Jhansi. So Hare Krishna Babu.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sarvasastra Piyusha Sarvavedaka Satvala Sarvasarantara Nadya Savalakakatrikpada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine and the precious gems of all conclusive truths. You are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Shrimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidvanto Dita Ditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O lifer of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Shrimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Shri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Premavarshaksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishna Namostume. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone, for you are Shri Krishna himself. Madekabando Matsangin Maguru Mamahadana Manistaraka Madbhagya Madananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asaru Asaru. Last verse escapes me. Today we are reading from Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, entitled Instructions by Prithu Maharaj. Text number 26. Yuyam taranimodadvam Pitridevarshayo malaha Kartu shasturanugnyas Yatus Tulyam yat pratyatat palam Yuyang tadanumodadvam Pitridevarshayo malaha Kartu shasturanugnatus Tulyam yat pratyatat palam Yuyam tadanumodadvam Pitridevarshayo malaha Kartu shasturanugnatus Tulyam yat pratyatat palam. Word for word. Yuyam all you respectable persons who are present here, Tat, that, Anumodadhang, kindly approve of my proposal. Pitri, persons coming from Pitri Loka. Deva, persons coming from the heavenly planets. Rishaya, great sages and saintly persons. Amala, those who are cleansed of all sinful activities. Karatu, the performer. Shastu, the order giver. Anugnatu, of the supporter. Tulyam, equal. Yat, which. Pretya, after death. Tat, that. Kalam, result. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. I request all the pure-hearted demigods, forefathers, and saintly persons to support my proposal. For after death, the result of an action is equally shared by its doer, its director, and its supporter. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The government of Prithu Maharaj was perfect because it was administered exactly according to the orders of the Vedic injunctions. Prithu Maharaj has already explained that the chief duty of the government is to see that everyone executes his respective duty and is elevated to the platform of Krishna consciousness. The government should be so conducted that automatically one is elevated to Krishna consciousness. King Prithu therefore wanted his citizens to cooperate fully with him, for if they assented, they would enjoy the same profit as he after death. If Prithu Maharaj as a perfect king were elevated to the heavenly planets, the citizens who cooperated by approving of his methods would also be elevated with him. Since the Krishna consciousness movement going on at the present moment is genuine, perfect, and authorized, and is following in the footsteps of Prithu Maharaj, anyone who cooperates with this movement or accepts its principles will get the same result as the workers who are actively propagating Krishna consciousness. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangun Lagate Grim Yakripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this notion is still present in India, at least how that by following a qualified leader, one gets the benefit. One gets benefit just by following the results that the leader gets are shared by its followers, by his followers. So sometimes, or when we go to Govardhan in India, we see that there are some sadhus, and they are doing Dandavat Parikrama. Some are doing 108 Dandavat Parikrama. So they stand in one place, they pick up a stone, they offer their Dandavats, they put the stone down, where as far as their hands reach. Then they stand up, pick up another stone, offer their obeisances. And that's to do 108 dandavats in one place, and then they move on to stand where the pile of stones are, and then they do exactly the same again for 21 kilometers. So sometimes it is the case that we see that one man will be offering dandavats, and his wife will be sitting down next to him, next to where he is offering his dandavats. And whenever the man goes down to offer his obeisances, the wife, she touches his feet and places the dust to her head. And in that way, she is getting benefit. She is getting the benefit. She gets a share of the benefit that the husband gets. So the man is doing all the hard work. And the wife gets a share of the benefit. So the husband is supposed to be the Gurupati, the guru of the ashram. He is supposed to be the leader, giving direction, being an inspiration for the rest of the family to become Krishna conscious. But yes, whatever benefit the husband gets, then that is shared with the wife. So be prepared, anyone aspiring for the Grihastha ashram, that whatever assets, whatever benefit you get, you have to share them with your wife. If a big plate of Mahaprasadam comes to you, remember 50% goes to the wife. As far as myself, I'm too greedy and selfish for the Grihastha ashram. I want all the benefit for myself, all the Mahaprasadam. There's also some danger for a brahmachari to get all the Mahaprasadam. I remember looking in the mirror at the age of 33 and being really shocked actually at how big my stomach was, how fat I was. And I thought, wow, I've got two options. Either I can reduce my eating, or I've got to get into some serious exercise. So I didn't want to reduce my eating, so I embraced the tapasya of exercise, and yes, so much benefit came from that realization. So why should the husband part with a share of the benefit? Lord Rishabdev, he explains in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Nayam deho deha bhajam nriloke, kastum kartamaha vibhujam ye. Tapo divyam puttarakayana sadvam shudyeta yasmad brahma sokyam tvarantam. He says, my dear sons, this human form of life is not meant for sense gratification, which is available to the hogs and dogs that eat stool. Rather, this human form of life is meant for tapo divyam puttarakayana sarvam. It's meant for tapasya. Because by such tapasya, the Supreme Lord is pleased and one attains Brahma Sokyam, spiritual happiness, by this tapasya. So by practicing tapasya, the body becomes strong, the mind becomes sober, and most importantly, one pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why, as the saying goes, austerity is the wealth of the Brahmanas. So the austerity of the wife is that of chastity and submission. That it is not easy. It is not so easy, especially in this day and age, for a wife to remain chaste and faithful, especially if she doesn't agree with her husband. But nonetheless, if a wife is chaste and faithful to her husband, then the husband feels obliged to give her benefit, some of the benefit he receives. He receives. In this way, actually, the wife, by becoming very chaste and submissive to her husband, she becomes extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. There are many examples in Shastra of this. One of the examples of one of the most chaste ladies in history is Gandhari, the wife of Dhritarashtra. So when she heard that the battle of Kurukshetra was about to start, in great anxiety, she went to Kurukshetra. And she was in anxiety. She had 100 sons. And Bhimasena had made a vow to kill every single one of her sons. So she had every right to be experiencing intense anxiety. So she went to the camp of the Kauravas, and she saw her son, Duryodhana, or her son, she called for her son to go and see him, to go and see her. And when Duryodhana came into her presence, she requested him to come and see her at a certain time, but the condition is that he must come to see her naked, with no clothes on. So what happened is Duryodhana agreed, and he went away, and then later on, he went to see his mother, completely naked, walking through the camp to his mother's tent. And he just so happened to bump into Krishna. And Krishna said, "My dear Duryodhana, where are you going? What are you doing? Why are you standing here with no clothes on?" And Duryodhana explained, my mother has requested that I go and see her. And as she requested that I go there naked. And Krishna, he told Duryodhana, no civilized man goes in front of their mother completely naked. At least put something across your loins. And in this way, Krishna managed to convince Duryodhana that, he should at least, put something around him, cover up his lower part of his body. And so Duryodhana then went to see his mother, Gandhari. And as we hear from the Shastra, from Mahabharata, that when Gandhari married Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra was blind, Gandhari accepted the austerity of voluntarily blindfolding herself because she didn't want to feel herself to be superior to her husband. So therefore she thought that if she could see, then she would think that she was superior to her husband. Therefore she voluntarily accepted blindness. So when Duryodhana came in front of his mother, he said, "Mother, I am now present before you." And Gandhari, she lifted the blindfold that was covering her eyes, and she gazed over Duryodhana's body. By that gaze, through her mystic potency, through her mystic power, she made Duryodhana's body as hard as iron in order to protect him in battle. And when she saw that Duryodhana had put a cloth over around the lower portion of his body, she was shocked, and he said, "My dear Duryodhana, I told you to come here naked, but I wanted to make your whole body as hard as iron to protect you. But I see that because you have not come to me naked, I cannot make the whole of your body, as hard as iron." So, and she said, I don't think I have the power to be able to do this again. And as we know, it was Krishna giving a hint to Bhima to hit Duryodhana with his club across his loin. And in this way, this was the downfall of Duryodhana. This is how he was killed. So this is all by Krishna's trickery. But we can see that Gandhari, she gains great mystic power simply by her chastity to her husband. There's also another story. It's mentioned in the Puranas. I forget which one now, of a young lady who was married, and her husband became a leper. And she saw it as her duty to she never left her husband. I can't imagine, what woman would want a leper for a husband. Anyway, she faithfully looked after her husband. She faithfully served him and stayed with him. And then she asked him, what desires do you have? He was dying. He was dying of leprosy. And he said to her, that I have a desire to want to enjoy with a prostitute. And his wife, because of being so faithful and submissive and chaste to her husband, she said, "Okay, I will arrange for this." And she carried her husband, to go and unite enjoy with a prostitute. And it just so happened that accidentally, this leper, he touched a great sage on the way. And the sage, knowing the sinful intention of the leper, cursed him to die when the sun was to rise. And when the wife heard that her husband had been cursed to die, she made a vow that the sun will never rise. She proclaimed that, yes, the sun will never, so my husband will live, the sun will never rise. And when the sun was due to rise the next morning, nothing happened. The sun did not rise. And in this way, all the movements of the universe were thrown out. And in this way, she, because it was disturbing, all the demigods, they didn't know what was happening. No one knew what was happening. But Lord Brahma, he knew that this very chaste lady has said that the sun will never rise, so my husband will live. So Lord Brahma came to her, and granted her a benediction that she should let the sun rise, but her husband, when he dies, he will be given a new body. Like this. So by the chastity of the wife, she gained great power. A chaste wife gains great power. So another very important point in today's purport is that Prabhupada says that, gives an example that if Prithu Maharaj goes to the heavenly planets, the citizens, because of following him, they will also go to the heavenly planets. But we should know that Prithu Maharaj being a Shakti Vaishyavatar, there is no way that he went to the heavenly planets. In fact, there's a whole chapter 23, entitled Prithu Maharaj Going Back Home. And actually, I thought that I could just read the Shruti Phala, the fruit of hearing this pastime, because sometimes it's good to hear this, like before the pastime ends, so we can understand what benefit we're going to get from hearing it. So I'll just read a couple of the translations. Any person who describes the great characteristics of King Prithu with faith and determination, whether he reads or hears of them himself or helps others to hear of them, is certain to attain the very planet which Maharaj Prithu attained. In other words, such a person also returns home to the Vaikuntha planets, back to Godhead. A pure devotee who is executing the different processes of devotional service may be situated in the transcendental position, being completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness. But even he, while discharging devotional service, must hear and read, induce others to hear about the character and life of Prithu Maharaj. The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, I have far as possible spoken the narrations about Prithu Maharaj, which enrich one's devotional attitude. Whoever takes advantage of these benefits also goes back home, back to Godhead, like Prithu Maharaj. Whoever with great reverence and adoration regularly reads, chants, and describes the history of Maharaj Prithu's activities will certainly increase unflinching faith and attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord's lotus feet are the boat by which one can cross the ocean of nescience. There we hear the wonderful fruit, the wonderful results, the benefit of hearing this pastime of Prithu Maharaj. And Prabhupada makes a very amazing point at the end of the purport. He says, similarly, just as the citizens, just by cooperating with Prithu Maharaj, when followed Prithu Maharaj, similarly, those persons who simply cooperate, just by cooperating with the Krishna consciousness movement, they get the same benefit as the persons, the devotees who are working for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. So this is a very amazing point. That yes, simply by making someone favorable, simply by giving someone a good impression and making them favorable and sympathetic to our cause and inspiring them in some way or other to assist us, this has permanent results. They get permanent benefit. And in this way, they also get to go back home, back to Godhead, simply by cooperating with the Krishna consciousness movement. Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you kindly for your attention. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
What a beautiful realization of explaining this text 26. Is the benefit of getting the share of benediction from the Lord by following or cooperating the people who are engaged in the Krishna conscious movement. So it's nicely mentioned. Even the people who are engaged in the street Sankirtan, we normally do, even those who join momentarily, they also get benefit. So nicely explained with the examples, how chaste women like Gandhari, we get the example so nicely and make it a point that yes, it is the power of the wife, even she can make the husband so strong. So this example shows us by cooperating in this movement, not only the performer gets the benefit, even the person who is cooperating in the movement, they also get the same benefit. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, explaining this text so nicely and show so exactly what the text tells us. Thank you so much once again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we have one question here from Nalini Kanta Prabhu. It says, does it also apply to a husband to be chaste and honest, but that he gets 50% of the wife's benefit? I haven't heard that, but the benefit is that the both wife and husband are there to assist each other in their spiritual life. So the benefit that the husband gets is that he has a partner, a companion to assist him in his service. So they're a team, a transcendental team. Yeah. So, okay. Is there any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for the very nice class, particularly bringing out the importance uh, of helping or being part of pious or devotional activities carried out in Krishna consciousness. And in this way, one can get the benefit. Even the follower can get the same benefit as the leader. And you have very nicely pointed out in Krishna conscious movement also, Prabhupada is told the importance of that. Even in a smallest way, one can contribute. And it is not necessary because the leader and the follower are of different qualities. And whatever is the quality, it is called adhikar or the capacity one has to help. So whatever way one has, if he cooperates with that, he need not have to. He need not have all the good qualities that maybe other people have, but whatever small quality he has, but if by that way he become part of that and helps in his honest way, the most sincere way, this devotional service or the activity that is going on, Krishna consciousness elsewhere, he can immensely benefit himself and also the movement, because everyone participates with their own abilities and capacities. They can contribute, and in this way, the whole society and the whole movement can purify the whole society as well. So that is one thing, and the other is about the story of the chaste wife. You have told it is from if I can remember properly, it's from Padma Puran, and Chaitanya Charitamrita has a mention of that, Prabhuji, and it is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antolila, and chapter 20 and verse 57. The story is clearly stated how a chaste lady was able to stop the movement of the whole system of the earth, and with the intervention of Brahma, the things got sorted out. But the content, or message is that a lady becomes a wife becomes very powerful when becomes chaste. And regarding the other question, what I understand, that the husband and the wife, the responsibility of the husband is to protect the wife, to give full protection to the wife, and that is the responsibility of the husband. And in turn, the wife's responsibility is to remain faithful to her husband. And so by the process, it is a combination. Each one is a different responsibility. It is not that like in the material world nowadays, a lot of other rights and things are being called. That is a different issue. Everyone wants to be equal, but no one is equal to another. In God's creation, no one is equal to another. That is the beauty of the Lord's creation. So whatever is our ability, we should contribute according to our ability. And we have got a responsibility, if we do that, what the Lord has created for us. And the Vedic system stress upon that. If we do our duties accordingly, it is prescribed in the Shastra, and the instruction from our Guru and the Vaishnavas, if we perform it, we will not only benefit ourselves and go back to Godhead, but will also help others to cross over the ocean of this material existence. And in this way, all of us will be benefited. Hare Krishna. Thank you again for the nice class you gave.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Just to add, we can see from Dhruva Maharaj's mother, Suniti, also got the same benefit. Yes. Only she did the assistance in performing Dhruva Maharaj's austerity, and with her advice. So through this small, we can say short participation also, she got the same result as Dhruva Maharaj. So you can see from the Shastra, there's benefit. It is all about understanding and understanding the Shastra and get the benefit out of it. Yeah, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yes, that's a very good point. Yeah. Any other questions or comments?
So Prabhuji, it appears there is no one other comments to make.
Okay.
So we can close the class now. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
His grace
Grace Stambha Bhava Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.